Hello and welcome. This is the Market Ram. I'm Agam Akil. Well, it's been a tough day of trade, I could say. A step forward, a step backward. It's that sort of a day. Certainly not all of the gains that we made yesterday were erased, but we did see some weakness coming through, perhaps about a profit taking, if I can call it that. Now, if you take a look at the Nifty here, in terms of the key gainers, we really don't have too many. We have perhaps the likes of Dr. Reddy's, which advanced by, well, about about 3%. Bharti Infratel advanced by around 2.5%. We have Britannia, Reliance Industries. But if you leave that aside, we have significant weakness in the likes of Tata Motors, where that stock's down by as much as 7%, as you can see here. And this is largely on account of earnings. Moving on, we also have Bharat Petroleum, Z Entertainment, all showing some amount of distress considering the kind of down move that we've seen in today's day of trade. Let's not forget something like Maruti Suzuki or Adani Ports, along with Bharti Airtel, also showing weakness. Now, when it comes to the broader markets, you may have seen momentum with the gainers. However, there are more losers coming in. So as you can see, one gainer for two losers. Jet Airways advancing by as much as 15%. That's followed by something like FDC, Just Dial, Jyoti Laboratories, all advancing in trade. But on the losing end, we have Triveni Turbine, Astral Polytechnic, and for Philips Carbon Black, along with Vodafone Idea, continuing to bear down on the broader markets. On that note, let's address right at the top earnings which have come through. And well, let's start with Tata Motors, and I'm going to get in Yatin Mota to talk to us about that. Yatin, not the best of quarters, but it was also something which was expected.
Yeah, so not the best of the quarters. More importantly, Agam, despite JLR delivering slightly above than estimated, EBITDA margins, we saw the management shift the guidance of earlier free cash flows from FY21 to FY22 on the back of new product launches. Probably that is the reason why a lot of analysts, had to change their estimates. In fact, we have CLSA, which has maintained a sale target price 150. They have cut the FY20 EPS estimates by nearly 18-20%. Brokerages have acknowledged the fact that there should be some pain as far as volumes are concerned moving forward. However, when you spoke to the management, they have said that they maintain the 4 to 7% EBIT margin trajectory. Cost-cutting benefits would come in FY20, moving forward. And more importantly, as far as the domestic commercial vehicle and passenger vehicle is concerned, first half is expected to be slightly soft, but second half would see some pre-buying on the back of that BS6 implementation in April 2020. So management is confident that demand would come back.
Yeah.
Of course, uncertainties like Brexit, trade war persist in the marketplace. So let's see how really the coming quarters shape up for Tata Motors. But as of now, as you said, top loser on the Nifty.
Yeah, fair enough. Yatin, thanks for joining us and getting us those details. And we'll be watching out for some of these cues from the auto sector as we move into the next few months, which could give us an idea about how volumes will pan out. The other stock which came in, just as markets were closing, is in terms of earnings, is Tech Mahindra. Now, while we were expecting a very soft quarter, the earnings turned out to be a little lower than estimates. So when it comes to revenues in dollar terms, we were looking at an uptick of as much as 0.6% against an expectation of around 1.6%. Similarly, rupee revenues, which were expecting to see a growth quarter on quarter, it's actually seen a dip of around 0.6%. And again, in terms of margins, looking at a little bit of contraction to around 15.4% against 16%, and the dip in profits consequently was come to around as much as nearly minus 6.6% at around 1127 odd crores. And of course, we will have more details emerge as and when the management tells us a little more about how the quarter's gone by and what we can expect going forward. But on that note, let me also bring in Sharad Dubey, who's going to talk to us about two other stocks which are on his radar. Sharad?
Yeah, the first stock is Bosch, which came out with a not in line set of numbers, and even the revenues fell by almost 13%. Now, if you see what the stock reaction was, the stock ended the day at almost down almost 1.3%. So basically, the management says that the lower sales volume and unfavorable exchange rate impacted the quarterly results. And they also talked to Bloomberg Quint today in the afternoon itself, and they said that they'll continue supporting the customers with BS6 solutions, which mind you will come out next year in 2020. Apart from this, they also want to launch a couple of launches which will be there, which will be the innovation products which will be going in for Bosch. And lastly, I think they also are promoting localization of the components which generally they are importing. The second stock which came out with the earnings, which were also below estimates, were Dhanuka Aggregate. There was just a slight marginal increase in terms of revenue, but the bottom line numbers were not really good. Now, if you see what the reactions were for the stock fell almost 1.8% in the day, ending at around 366 odd rupees. The inventory levels remained same, but the management talked to Bloomberg Quint today in the afternoon itself, and they also stated that they don't see any increase in the raw material prices in this year, and they also expect a couple of launches going into the quarter. So all in all, a subdued performance by these mid-cap companies have come up today in this afternoon, Agam.
Right, Sharad. Thanks for bringing us those details on these two other stocks that were in focus. But of course, it is going to be, at least over the next 2 or 3 days, about elections, the general elections, the outcome which will be on the 23rd of May, and a lot will depend on the kind of outcome that we have. So, well, we'll know if the exit polls were correct on Thursday, and when we are joined by the very best in business through the day. So, Bloomberg Quint is your destination to get the latest and the most accurate analysis of the numbers as they come in. Keep an eye on all those numbers, as well as a long list of some very, very big experts in the industry who also actually head some of the companies and the institutions that have been present in India. So we'll be watching out for that, as well as the election outcome. On that note, it's a wrap on the markets. Lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg.